Jan, the Cloudways Mavericks, and we are here to share with you today productivity, tools, tips, and tricks. If you want to maximize your productivity this year in 2021, then please do stay tuned. And we'd encourage you to get involved in the conversation. So as we share the tools, tips, and tricks and strategies, let us know in the comments, A, what you like, B, what you don't like, and C, what your tools, tips, and tricks are as well to help encourage each other. We all love to start a brand new year going, new year, new me. I'm going to get all my goals achieved. So let's learn some cool stuff. Today, each one of us are going to share a tool, at least one tool that we think is freaking awesome, as well as some behind the scenes strategy on how we run our businesses. So hopefully this will be super helpful. If you have any questions, please let us know. If you're watching the replay, please type in the words replay. Before we carry on, let's go around the virtual room and just get to know each one of the Mavericks if you've never met us before. So Peter, let's start with you and just let us know a little bit about yourself.
I am Pete Gennari, and I am a UX and design expert, and I am a Maverick at Cloudways, and you can find me in Design for Geeks.
Over on Facebook and the web. That's awesome.
And
Jan, how about yourself?
I am Jan Koch. I am venturing into virtual summits, so you can find me soon at Virtual Summit Mastery, but for now you'll still see me on WP Mastery talking all about WordPress.
And if you are an agency owner, I highly recommend you go check out the replays at the moment of the summit. There's some phenomenal content from, I think, all of us, actually, isn't there?
Yep.
We're all in there. That's awesome. And folks, I am the host of the Agency Trailblazer podcast, which you can find on agencytrailblazer.com, and a fellow Maverick with these awesome legends. So today we're going to start with Jan. He's going to share some of his some of his tools. Then we're going to go over to Peter, who has something incredible up her sleeve that I can't wait to see. She's going to demonstrate something, so I'm very excited about that. And then we'll wrap up with a little bit of the strategy that I use and a couple of tools as well. So please do let us know the questions. We'll be keeping our eye on those. We'll try and tackle a few throughout the live stream. But Jan, can I hand over to you, buddy? Do you want to share your screen? Yep. And we're going to pop you up.
Before you start, Jan, can I just say, friends who are watching, if you have an image from a project that you would like me to use to choose a palette from, please post it in the comments. Let us know, yeah? Otherwise, we make it up.
Yeah. Just take a screenshot of your website and Peter will run through it, yeah.
No, the website, but an image specifically.
An image, okay.
Yeah, an image.
Brilliant. Alrighty, so what I would like to start with is a topic that has been a pain point for me for like forever. So at least I started my business in 2013, and probably until 2020, I wasn't able to consistently send email newsletters, which is insane given how powerful it is to be on top of the mind of your audience at all times. And also the ROI on email marketing still outperforms everything else. Like no matter how good your PPC campaigns are, chances are that email marketing will still outperform that. So I am lucky in that I'm friends with Davinder Singh Kind. Big shout out to him because he taught me this strategy. And I want to share with you how I use Notion in order to send emails at least 3 times a week. So you can see I started 2020, October the 5th. And since then, right now, I'm writing the emails for February 2021. It's really a powerful approach, and it's quite simple as well. So what I do is, as you can see, I have some of these blank email templates prepared in Notion, and I keep this tab open at all times when I'm working. And so whenever I have a conversation, whenever I read something exciting, I hear something exciting, or I, God forbid, do something exciting, I write an email about that. So I just always am able to grab an idea that I have, pop it into an email template that I know on a given day I will send. So for example, I do have a book launch coming, and then on February the 2nd, the day before the launch, I have to talk about the book launch. And then I set aside an hour every week to blast out all that email, to write out all the emails. because I don't have to think about what I'm writing about. It's so much easier for me and so much quicker to create those emails. And then I can just churn out all the emails in one batch, get them into ActiveCampaign, get them scheduled. And after a month or so, I take the time to go through the past emails, see how did the open rates perform, which email subject lines works best, which topics worked best, maybe also evaluate if I was too salesy in my emails or if I had not enough sales emails, because they need to pay the bills in the end. And that just is so much better for the business, because I actually saw open rates go up after I started sending emails consistently. So that is a really nice way to grow a business. What I'm doing recently, what I'm starting to do is, instead of leading with value in the email directly and writing like a 500-word email with all the lessons I want to share, what I'm doing is I'm putting those lessons into a blog post, which is a little bit more work, but then I just link to the blog post and give a glimpse into the content in the email. And what this does is it trains my subscribers to click on links in my emails, which is brilliant for deliverability, because Google and all the other email providers see that people engage with my emails. And when I have a launch coming, when I have a sales promo coming, people are already used to clicking on links. So when I say click here to buy this or that or the other thing, they are used to doing that. And that also is a lesson I learned from marketers way smarter than me. I think I got it from Ryan Dice on Digital Marketer. Just something to build a habit upon. And I created a YouTube video called How to Create Consistent Content Using Notion and WordPress, which if you want to learn more about this, I highly recommend it. It's one of the better performing ones that I've had so far. And yeah, would love to know what you think, Peach and Lee.
I love what you're doing there, mate, with regards to, as you come up with the idea, you pop that in, and then you will reapproach everything. I'm assuming what you do is you'll come up with a title or a couple of points. So you'll throw that title in and maybe a couple of bullets, and that allows you to come back and then batch everything through.
Yep.
Is there any reason you're using Notion as opposed to, say, Evernote or something? Is there a reason that Notion is better than most?
I just find it easier to use. So with Notion, what you can do is you can easily link in between pages and you can reference stuff. And yeah, just easier for me to keep it in sync across all devices. With Evernote, I have Evernote, I think, but I never really got the hang out of it. I started with Notepad on Windows. I started with an offline note-taking app. So that's like text editor or something like that. And just jotted down all the ideas there and then wrote the emails directly in ActiveCampaign.
I was about to say that, actually.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's right. I wanted to say that I've watched the video and I really recommend it, because as regards that, I think that after all, any tool will do. I mean, you like Notion, but I find that you got me trying Notion. In fact, I watched that video, which I really recommend, in terms of because the concept really doesn't matter which tool you use. I started with Notion, but I find that these days I have gone back to just the simplest tools possible. So actually, what I use is notes in my phone or on the Notes app, the Apple Notes app, because it's just so simple and it syncs everywhere, and I don't have to think about anything. I can do folders, and that's it. So if that's your, use whatever. If you want to use Notepad in Windows, I think that the important thing is that you are now writing emails every day, and I admire you for it. I really do. That's the concept. Then Notion is your tool of choice, but I think it does,
as you relevant. Said, yeah. You're totally right. It doesn't matter what tool you use. It just matters that you execute on the process. So whatever works best for you, go with it. I think the main takeaways are: have something where you can jot down ideas as they come to mind, because that was the biggest issue for me. I never knew what I wanted to write about. And then when I finally set aside an hour to write an email, I spent 45 minutes thinking about a topic because I didn't have a good idea at that point. But when you have all the ideas and you have like 2 or 3 bullet points about the idea in some place you can access, then it's super easy to set aside an hour and to actually write that whole email.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Karen.
The next tool that I wanted to share is something that is very important for me because I'm not a native English speaker. That is Grammarly. Grammarly is a spell checker, and I think we can go through this pretty quickly. In Grammarly, you can write the content and you can have it check for spelling. So let me see if I can zoom in enough so that it can actually be seen on the screen here.
Hey, Jan, do you know one thing?
I see that.
Do you know that if you are a foreign language speaker, your spelling might be better than that of an English person? Did you know this?
Because I'm paying more attention to that, or
because you're paying more attention, because you had to learn it. It's a learned skill, and therefore, and to me, the spelling was so alien that I had to memorize it all. In fact, I realized that my English had got way too good for my own good when I started misspelling. Like going, sort of writing quickly and writing, right as in right or left instead of right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I go, no. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
I interrupt.
That's a good point. But what I like to use Grammarly for is mostly for, as the name suggests, grammar corrections. That is something that I struggle sometimes with. And I just want to make sure that the content I put out is correct in terms of grammar and spelling. So that is what Grammarly Pro can help you with. And also what you can do, what's pretty nice, is you can set goals for your content. So you can decide on who you are writing for, general audience, an audience who knows about the topic, and an audience who's an expert in your topic, the formality, the domain, and the tone and the intent. So that is really nice, because Grammarly will suggest things like synonyms based on these goals, which is really important, because I think what sets good content apart is a variety of words that is probably broader than what you would read on most blogs and most websites. So that is a great tool I use every day to create content, and everything I write in Notion. Unfortunately, Grammarly does not integrate with Notion very well, at least not with the Notion app. So I copy from Notion into Grammarly just to make sure that everything is okay. And then from Grammarly, I put it into ActiveCampaign, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but I've got used to that process. And the last tool I want to share is something I discovered just a couple of days ago, and that is called missingletter.com. And Missing Letter is solving another very big pain point for me, which is content promotion, because I would spend days writing a 3,000-word blog article, and I'd share it once on Facebook, once on Twitter, once per email, and that's my promotion, really, which is a waste of effort if you look honestly at it. So what I can do with Missing Letter is they create automatic drip campaigns. So you add your website to your account, it monitors how many articles you have, and it automatically detects when you publish new articles. And let me just walk you through creating one of those drip campaigns. Essentially, what you do is you make sure that over a 12-month period, your content automatically gets shared on social media. And they don't just do it by sharing posts with text only, but they generate quote images and stuff like that automatically too. So let's take this post about creating consistent content in Notion as an example. Missing Letter selected hashtags, which is WP Agency Summit. Okay, the spelling is wrong, but I give it that. Native English speaker, note-taking habit, complete blog posts, which again, the spelling is wrong, so that is stupid. I can just remove these hashtags. I can add new hashtags as I want to. So I'll add the right spelling of WP Agency Summit. And then what I can do is, let's say hashtag email marketing, hashtag Notion. And then what Hire Freelance Writers is a nice one, email marketing program. Okay, e-commerce growth formula is in that post, but it's not something I want to have in this campaign. What Missing Letter will then do is it'll include these hashtags in the post that it shares. Then it goes through all the images on the post's website and grabs them to promote those images too. So those are all the sponsor images on the website. I don't need those in the content. That's images from the sidebar. So I leave myself and the thumbnail. And then it also tries to detect quotes from the post. So those are shareable quotes that it turns into pieces of content, essentially. So I just go through, I won't go through them right now because it's like way too much work for this scope. But then I can click Build Campaign. And now I can see what post goes live on which day. And you can see the days of the campaign right here in the profile. Those are the quote images, by the way, and you can select the branding as you want it with the image and color and stuff like that. And then you can have Missing Letter run your entire social media promotion for all the content you have on your website. And I think that is a brilliant time saver.
Your own virtual social media assistant.
Yep. And
Scary and good.
I found out about Missing Letter years ago when it first came out, and the algorithm was still not so, before, sort of grown. Now it seems to be working much better now.
Yeah.
Really much better.
There's one thing you have to be aware of. They have an AppSumo lifetime deal going on right now, but that is not for the drip campaign feature. That is for a feature they call Curate, where essentially you submit your content to an internal database that Missing Letter has, and then other Curate users can see your content and decide to share it. So that's a different feature. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, but those are my 3 tools I wanted to share in this webinar.
So, Pete, I'm off mute. Peter, do you want to take over and share your screen? And
yes, I will. So I asked for an image, but because my computer is playing silly. You know how my computer sometimes doesn't like me going live. So I asked for an image, but I don't know whether I've got it. But we can make up an image. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm gonna share 2 tools. I'm gonna share my process, and that means I can play with colors, and I love it. I'm going to play with colors. So because StreamYard works better with Chrome, then I'm using Chrome. And actually, for those of you who are in my Design for Geeks group, there was a conversation lately where, because Emily Grau, Emily from Double Elevation, I know her. Anyway, a member of the group was saying that Chrome desaturates colors in a really shocking manner. And I can confirm that is the case. So Chrome makes colors really, the difference between a screenshot of the same image in Chrome or in Firefox is dramatic, I would say. I would use this word, dramatic. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to look for an image. Share screen.
And there it is.
Yeah, can you see it? What shall we go for? Give me a letter. What shall I look for?
A letter? Z.
A letter, sorry. No, not a letter. What image shall I look for? Like a kitten?
A fairground?
Fairground sounds good.
It sounds
quite colourful.
Yeah.
I do like occasionally kittens, right?
I would have said Iron Man.
Fairground. Sorry?
I would have said Iron Man.
God, one day we're going to talk about the real things.
Ooh, the one on the right.
One on the that's way. I think that's a bit
way too many colors.
But it's very pretty. Because what we're doing is, I'll give you the scenario. So what we're doing is we're taking an image and we're pretending that it's an image that a client is using as the hero image on their website, and they're asking us to create a palette from it. And I'm going to show you a way that you can do it while at the same time having choosing accessible colors. So we're going to choose an image that we like, and that could, there's quite a few nice ones, aren't there?
Ooh, lovely pictures.
What about, okay, this one is actually, this one could be an interesting one. That is a nice image. That's Sydney, this one.
Oh, is it?
This one is Sydney. It's across the harbour bridge. Okay, so this is interesting. Anyone saying anything in the comments? I'm going to pick one in a minute. So I think that we are going to pick. What about this one?
Yes.
Shall we pick this one? Yeah,
Yes,
I think
nice
it's good.
one.
Okay. So I think I don't actually need to download it if it has a link. Hang on. That's a link, isn't it? Have I copied the link? Yeah, URL copy to. Okay, so now we've got an image. And if you already know and use Coolers, if you in the who are watching already know and use Coolers, let me know. It's a brilliant, brilliant tool. It's only getting better. And I am proud to say it's an Italian man who created it. And so Coolers is a palette generator, but it's much, much more than that. So I'm going to click into generate now. I've got my account in here, and I always save all the palettes that I create. So in its own, its own due course, because my computer is lazy today. La 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 la. Do you want to talk about something else?
This live stream is sponsored by Cloudways, the managed host clouding provider select from 5 to 6 major cloud providers. And don't have to worry about the updates. Find out more on cloudways.com. And now on with the show. How was that?
Perfect. So we've got this wonderful color palette generator. If I just click on the space bar, it would just create more palettes. And actually the AI, I will show you how the AI just keeps improving. I absolutely love it. I mean, this is just a fun game to play. You can just play this game. But we're here to work.
An hour with that.
I know. But we're here to work. We're serious, guys. We are serious people. Don't forget. So here you've got a series of tools, and we're going to go over the essential ones in a minute. But we're going to create a palette from photos. So the scenario is, again, we've got a client. They've given us this image, and they've asked us to create a palette from it because is it? The image.
You need the direct JPEG URL. I think that's the page URL. So if you right click on the image and get the direct URL of the image.
Yeah.
Copy image address. Yeah. So, okay, let's hope so. So a scenario that happens quite often is that the client doesn't have they just don't have a brand palette. They don't really have it. They might have a logo, but they haven't gone as far as getting the guidelines. It's not ideal, but it happens all the time. And they give you a main image that they like because they have a foreground. They're a foreground attraction. So you get this image and you see that it picks the colors in the image. So, and I am able to choose. So let's say that I want to go, actually, I'm not really a pink, I'm not a soft colors kind of person. So I'm going to go into this lovely orange here if I can pick it, because it's a little bit, can I go in bigger? No. So I'm just going to pick a color here. I'm going to pick this. I can always tweak it later. So that's one color. And then here's just, actually, it's increased the number of colors. See how cool it is? I can ask it to pick as many colors as. So that's quite cool. So now I've changed this one here. Actually, it's a little bit too dark. I'm going to move it again. See if I can. Yeah. Then I can go here and go and pick a dark blue because I'm going to need it. Actually, it's going to be more of like a slate gray. And then actually, you know what? Maybe I can add a pink, but just because.
Please do add a pink. I love pink. It's my favorite.
I think I'm the man in this situation. So I don't actually need this one anymore, but it doesn't matter. So, okay, let's say that I have these colors, and then I just go and click on next, and I am going to open in the generator. All right,
Awesome.
look, we've got medium carmine, shimmering blush.
Beautiful.
Shimmering blush. We've got Oxford blue, cadet grey, and mint cream. I mean,
Who
the
comes
names
up with
are
the names. Seriously.
the names are wonderful. The names
I feel like I'm about to paint my office or something.
You know what? I'm just
Deluxe paint.
I am wondering. I am wondering whether these colors are actually. They must be. Because I know that, for instance, there is a Rebecca purple. I think, and actually I should know this, but I think I sort of buried, I did used to know this information and I buried it. Mm-hmm. If anyone in the audience knows, Hacks colors, they have names, haven't they? Because there's a Rebecca purple, for instance. There's a purple called Rebecca purple. So
I will
anyway,
do my duty and Google it whilst you do this.
Do that, and if anyone comments, then let me know. So now we've got these colors. So what do we need to think about when we create a palette for a website? Because I see that often brand guidelines have colors, color palettes, and I look at it and go, this is unusable. It just isn't. It isn't the right. Yeah, and actually, the Rebecca purple color has a wonderful story behind. Well, wonderful. It has a story behind it. If there's time, I'll tell you the story. Anyway, so as I was saying, a palette like this may look pretty, and it definitely goes with our image. However, is it usable for the web? Is it? We don't know yet. We need to test it out. And as I see it like this, not really, because what am I missing here? I am missing. Even though I almost have it with this Oxford blue, I almost have it. But the first thing that I look for is a really dark color, that I can use for text. So what I love to do is to use a color for text that isn't black, that is just the darkest color in the palette made as dark as possible. Now, in this case, I've got this Oxford blue, which is beautiful and may actually work. It may be dark enough, but just to be on the safe side, I am going to create a darker version of that. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to use this for the headings, because headings are bigger and therefore I can get away with a color that is not that dark for them to be visible. And I'll show you how I'm going to check that. So, the first thing actually that I haven't done yet, because like I showed you earlier, if I press the space bar, the colors change. I don't want to sort of accidentally lose this palette, because I can save it, but I haven't saved it yet. So what I'm going to do is here, the colors, can you see that they have got all sorts of commands? Yeah. I'm going to lock them. I'm going to lock them all because I don't want to lose them. Even though I may completely change this palette, I still don't want to lose them. Now, so I am going to duplicate this color. So I am going to click here in the X value, and I am going to click here on to copy color. Then look how clever this tool is. I just love it. Look at this little plus. The UI and the UX are just amazing. So I'm going to click on this. Intuitive. Yeah, and look how clever it is. Look how the color that is created is exactly in between these two. I mean, I am a color nerd, and this just makes me like, oh. So now I'm gonna paste the color because I wanted to duplicate it, because what my task is now, the first task always is find the right color for text. Look how I do that. So now you need to know one thing about color. In order to create safe colors that are on brand, because let's say that this is the brand color, the client has said, this is the color, this is the blue that I want, you can't move from that. You can create a whole palette, a whole gradation, and you don't need actually anything else just from this color. How do you do that? Do you know?
Nope.
No. Colors. Not even going to try. Okay. So,
nope, not going to try.
No, don't even try. Let me say it. So,
colors are mighty one.
So let's have a look here. So one other great thing about this is that it has, see here, when I click on the hex color, I can choose here between all the various color modes that there are. I don't have time to go into all the color modes here, but the one that is fundamental for our purpose is HSB. Do you know what that stands for? Teacher mode. Hue, saturation, and brightness. I'm not going to ask what hue means because it's getting boring, but hue basically is color. What hue means is color, and the number that you see that hue has a color, and it basically is the position of that color on the color wheel. If you imagine a wheel here, a wheel is, a circle has 360 degrees, yeah? Mm-hmm. So this hue, this blue, is at 213 degrees on the color wheel. That's what it is. So if I don't move this, if I keep this as is, but move brightness and saturation, I can find a different color that is exactly the same hue. So I'm still within the brand colors, but I haven't changed the color. I've only changed the intensity of it, the intensity, which is the saturation, or the amount of light that is in it. So
How
I can
do
either
you communicate that to clients, though? Because
Well,
if I think about the people that I work with, they see a different color and they would just say it's not the same color.
No, but you
They don't understand that.
Yeah, sure. But you keep this color if they want this for, your background, or you keep it. That's the brand color. But then you can explain that you have created all the other asset colors within the brand guidelines. If you look at big sites like LinkedIn or Facebook, that's basically what they do. They just tweet. They have one brand color. They don't have a whole colors of their own. Because when you see brands that have loads of colors, that's not a good idea. I mean, I don't think I've got the time to go over all the reasons why, but that's kind of why. So the first thing, so what I do instead of fiddling with these commands, what I do is, because it's such a clever tool, I click on this. Now, shades and tints in print design. A shade of a color is a color with more black in it. A tint of a color is a color with more white in it. On the web, colors are created with light. That's all it is. And so it's just a scale of brightness. So if I go, so this is already quite a dark color, but I would go probably for text. To be on the safe side, I could use, I guess, this one, the 061323, but I'm probably going to go for this one just to be on the safe side. So I click on this, and I've chosen this. It's a rich black, and it makes me feel great because my color nerdness is satisfied because I know that I've chosen a black that is on brand. And another thing that I need to look at, so I'll quickly have a look at, I'll show you something super important in a minute, but I'm going to quickly look at these colors. So these two, so I can do things like drag. So because I know my colors, I can tell you that this blue and this orange are almost complementary. Complementary colors sit opposite to one another on the color wheel. And they they're really great because they are dynamic, exciting kind of color combinations. But the issue that they have, especially on screen, is that they vibrate when next to one another. So you should never put orange text on a blue background or vice versa, because people with color blindness issues are not going to be able to see them. So you need to always check things like this. And another thing that you need to check is if I go here in my favorite mode, which is, no, actually, I didn't want to copy it. I wanted to go here and go to HSB. You see here that you can see the saturation of colors and the brightness. Now, you don't want any color that's more saturated than, say, 80% saturation, because otherwise, because screen are based on light, it will be way too bright and it will be vibrate, and people who have color vision issues will not like that. I have all sorts of weird things with my eyes. I mean, I see colors really well, but I have a problem with high persistency in the retina, so I see things a million times. My eyes vibrate. I mean, it's just odd. So that's one thing. So, for instance, this shimmering blush color, no, look, it's really not very saturated, so that's fine. So that's good. Okay, so we've got good colors. This cadet gray is lovely as well. I'm just going to check. Perfect. And actually, another color, the palette has done it by itself, but what I really like to choose as well is I like to choose a really dark off white, off black, and a really pale off white. Usually I get the off-white from the maiden brand color, but I'm going to go with the one that came from the palette now. So let's say that I have chosen for my text, the rich black, and for my background, the mint cream. What do I need to do now? Anyone? Children?
You're the teacher. I don't want to give the wrong answer. I'm too scared.
Children? You know. You both know, but you're being shy. Contrastchecker.com. The first thing that you need to do whenever you choose a color.
I did have the answer right in front of me because I've just pressed the button, but I didn't. I was still scared. I had some scary teachers at school, so I'm still scared. So when someone asks me a question, even if it's like, "What color is the sky?" I start to doubt it, and then I just go quiet. Sorry.
You know perfectly well. You once put me right on the spot in a live.
I remember.
You did that. You made me check my own website's colors in a contrast checker. And actually, even though I knew I had for a moment, I was like, and then of course they were perfectly fine. Anyway, so contrast checker, you've got to check it. The overwhelming majority of websites I see on a daily basis have some even tiny form of accessibility issue with their colors, and you need to take accessibility seriously. There's the ADA, the Americans with Disability Act, that has been active since 1990, and even though you're not in America, there are European legislations as well, and you just basically don't be just be nice to people. So background is your background. So let's say that we go, so the foreground is the color of the text. Foreground is 030912. 03090912. And the background is EEF for ED. EEF for ED. Haven't I got an amazing memory? And as I suspected, has it taken
Look
it
at
yet?
that. Yeah. What's
I
that?
think
Quadruple, quintuple A? That's full marks, isn't it? Across the board.
You know what?
But
This is insane because I've just used this tool on a website that I'm working on right now. And I've compared or checked the contrast for the main CTA, so background to button color. And guess what? I have just red.
Oh, I thought you were going to say all green.
and you know what, Jan? I saw that website because you gave us
Yeah,
a
you
link,
knew
and I was
immediately.
like, I need to have it. We need to have a chat. We need to have a chat.
How
So,
do
for
I
instance,
tell him in a nice way?
So for instance, I can imagine, I can almost even see the client that goes, oh, great. I love the shimmering blush color. Let's do the CTAs in this color, DB818B. So if we do that, so background, what did I say? DB81? DB, is that what? I can't remember. DB818B. DB818B. And so it's not a huge, actually, this is kind of all right with the dark, but although I don't like it at all. Look, it's quite different here from the palette, isn't it? So let's say that then we put the mint cream EEF for ED. EEF for ED. Complete fail. And yet I see, especially with a certain kind of an entrepreneur, you see this white on purple or pale green with white text, and it's just a fail. Don't do it, because
I could have told you anyway because I'm naturally squinting at that.
Exactly. No. Me too. I can't read it, but I can. I mean, there's a website I was looking at because I'm now using MemberVault as my course platform, and there's an example website, and it's all like that. It's like mint green and pink buttons with white text. So these are the absolutely essential things, and once you've done this, I mean, it's really, really simple. Just check all these things and make sure. So actually, I'm going to show you also, if you say, okay, so, but the client wants this color and they want white. So you just go, okay, fine. You know what? This is what I would do. So I would again, copy this, then duplicate the column because I want to keep it. Again, they're very clever. Very clever. Actually, I need to go to, no, I didn't want to do that. Now copy this again and it's wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I get BB. I'm aware that I should hurry up because it's Lee's turn. It
is.
It is. Sorry, peeps. Just really quickly, I'll do something very similar to what we did earlier. So I go here and simply pick something much darker, or actually maybe desaturate. So if you can tell the client, you can say, okay, you know what, you want that color. I'll choose a color that comes from that color. 8F2834. 8F2834. And it's almost a pass.
Sweet.
It's almost a pass. So you can just tweak that until it works. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. And I'm going to shut up now.
Awesome.
My time is
folks,
over.
So far, we have learned about some incredible tools. Jan has covered Notion, Missing Letter, and Grammarly. And we've also seen the power of speeding up that color palette checking, and also speeding up communications with your client, because you can explain the logic behind why you've done things, and you can tell them to shut up when they tell you that they like that color better, because you can tell them why they don't like that color better because of the contrast checker, which is ridiculously important. And one of my favorite things that Peter talks about a lot of the time is that good design is good marketing, and that's the same with your colors, etc., which is phenomenal. So what I'm going to do is
my work here is done.
With you. Your work is, well, you've trained me well enough. So let's share my screen, and you should be able to see the next tool, which is Airtable, which you can find out more information over on airtable.com. And what I want to do first of all is I want to actually talk about goal setting in general. So we are in 2021. It's a new year. We all tend to set ourselves those goals, and then we don't get them done. And one of the reasons we don't get things done in our business is because we set ourselves too many lofty goals that are really ridiculously hard to achieve. We don't reverse engineer them, and we're not really bought into all of those goals. If you ever hear of the word "I should do this," then that's actually a real negative conversation going on in your head. What's happening is you're seeing things going on around you, other agencies doing really other cool things, and you think, oh, we should be doing that. We should have a podcast. We should have an amazing social media campaign like that. We should redesign our website. We should, and all of these shoulds become kind of half-hearted goals for your business. What then happens is these goals are goals that you don't achieve because you're not bought into them. You know you should, or at least you tell yourself you should, but you never really get onto them. And then that just creates this continuous negative cycle where, as a business, you find yourself doing stuff for your clients, but not doing the stuff for you, not moving that needle forward. And it's really demotivating as an agency. So I would encourage you right now, if you've heard what I've just said and you think that's you, let us know in the comments. Let's be honest and let's be accountable with each other. And guys, like, do you recognize that in yourselves? Give us a nod if you agree. Yeah, come on. They're just nodding to be helpful because they're all geniuses. But seriously, if that is you, I would encourage you. Let's take a look first at this episode. So this is episode number 297. I released a few weeks ago, and it was at the beginning of it was at the end of last year to encourage people for the new year on how to set goals. And I just want to walk very quickly through this, and then we'll show you a couple of cool tricks in Airtable. So the first thing is write out a list of all of those things that you want to achieve. And it doesn't matter if it's a coulda, shoulda, or woulda. Just write down all of those things that you feel like you would love to achieve in 2021. Then, for each and every one of those, write down what the outcome will be. So if you think you should launch a brand new podcast, then great. What do you expect the outcome to be? It's really important to understand what will that outcome be, because that'll start to help you understand the value of that outcome. If I should redesign my website, so that becomes a goal, what do I want the outcome to be? Perhaps I want the outcome to be more leads and more targeted leads. Well, that's quite compelling. So I'm going to write that down as my goal is brand new website for my business. The outcome I want is better, more qualified leads. Sounds pretty damn good. Equally, I want to launch a new Facebook campaign because, and what do I want those outcomes to be? So really, really important that we go through that process, write down some goals. We're not going to do them all. Write down what you expect those outcomes, and then once you've done that, reorganize that list into the ones with the most compelling outcomes, the ones where the outcomes are most important to you and your business. So if you should, telling yourself, I should write a book, but if you think about it, the outcome of the book is you'll have to try and ship and sell lots of books, but would rebuilding my website to be more specific to my clients be far more effective? And that's a conversation you need to have in your head, and then reorder the importance. So maybe A, I want to do the website first. B, I then want to ship the book because I want to use that as my business card. And then C, I want to launch the podcast to promote the book, etc., and also promote my website. So have a look at the order of importance to things that you want to do. Obviously, they're all very big goals. You don't have to have that sort of goal. It could be quite simply you want to review the process of your web builds, or you want to create a new onboarding process. It could be simple and small things as well, but list down all of those goals, all the outcomes that you want, and then order them in the order of importance. Next, what we're going to do with those is once you've listed those out, pick the very first one, the ones at the top, or the first two. And we want to reverse engineer that. We want to say, right, I want to build a new website for my company. Let's just say we picked that, and the outcome is we want those more leads. So let's reverse engineer. How are we going to do that? And people so often think they have to drop everything and make something big and ridiculous and go for it, and then client work all gets in the way, etc. And I would say reverse engineer it, break it down into a few small steps that you can do each week. So that's essentially a small achievable action. One of the things you'll hear me say a lot nowadays is that small achievable actions lead to big change. So if you can slowly chip away at something, you will find you'll get it done far more effectively than if you keep trying to set yourself kind of super productive days to bash something out. Just reverse engineer what it is, pick an amount of time, a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever you want it to be, and then break that down into those small achievable actions. You can break down a brand new website build for your business down into a 6-month small achievable action simply by starting on day one by writing yourself a small sitemap. That's a 10-minute job with a few bullet points. Following day, maybe you want to draw a picture of a basic layout or even just a contents kind of headings for the homepage. Great. Day 2, let's do something else. 5 minutes a day, whatever that needs to be to help you get that particular goal achieved. And every time you sit down to do that next small achievable action towards that goal, read what the goal is, read what those outcomes are that you want, and then keep chipping away at those small achievable actions, because I guarantee you they are the ways that you will get things done for your business. That is how you become far more productive as a business owner. And this is something that you can model and teach to your staff. If we want to start achieving big things that just seem so unachievable and so far away from us, we can break them down into small achievable actions. The important thing is that buy-in, is understanding what the outcome needs to be, what the outcome is you want, be put into that outcome, and then break that project down into loads of small achievable actions. Now, on this podcast, it's episode number 297. You can actually download this. This is a goal planner. And here, it's exactly the same process. You write down what you want to achieve. You then write down, you could actually print this page off multiple times for all the different goals. Essentially, you're writing down the goal. You're saying, hey, why do I want to achieve this? What do I even want the outcomes to be? And then list the final goals that you're going to go for and write out those small achievable actions. You can see there's a scoring system. That's what we do every single year. We start the year off with a plan. We pick the top 1 or 2 items that we want to do that year, and we break it down across the year, and we get cracking. Now, there's something else that we do on a day-to-day basis, and that's how do I get stuff done in a day? So let's talk about that. And believe it or not, it's not technology. It's a piece of freaking paper. Episode number 299, I share this.
That's for me, Lee. Digital agency working on paper.
I work on paper every day. I print this off, and I'm sorry, I really do. I also have.
I love it.
Where are they? I piled everything. Right. So, reality check. My office is not tidy. Oh, here it is. My office is not tidy. Everything's all piled over there, so you guys get to see the nice stuff. But you see here, we have a typical. Can you see that on camera? Typical checklist. It's a checklist book, and every single day, I will write down what it is I need to achieve, and then I'll scratch them off. And on certain days, if there's a little bit too much to do and I want to push it on into the next day, I'll just simply put a line through it and an arrow, and then I'll write it on the following page. So I know in the morning when I get in, I just turn the page and I've got my new tasks for the day, and I can just keep doing that. So this is a representation of that. I tend to like to print this off and write. So I've got a fresh page each day. I'll write down what I'm going to be getting up to. I might highlight some priorities here for the day. So perhaps I need to prepare for a webinar like this, which is what I had to do. But also I might remind myself of what goals I'm working towards, the 2 main goals that I'm aiming at, because that might remind me to put something on this piece of paper, that small achievable action that's going to get me towards that goal. So this is certainly something that you can do. There's loads of books like that on Amazon. I'll come back later and I'll pop a link to one of those books, or you can just simply save a bit of money and print something like this off and manage your day. What we do, and all of our team do this, we have this exact layout. We will write down the day before what we need to achieve the following day. We will work through them, nothing like putting a line through a piece of paper. And like I said, if we need to put anything on into the next day, we can drag and drop it. Now, don't panic, because Airtable can do this too. If you don't want to print off and you do want to save a tree, then we have a replicated version here in Airtable. So let me talk you through the process. There's another thing that you can also do with your tasks. We've got enough time. That's good. So here you can see some tasks that are coming up. I've got to pay an invoice. Whoopie-doo. There's a magazine cover. I need to book onto a show. I need to review one of our projects. There's a support ticket that I need. So I need my input, needs my input, and then another support ticket that needs my input. So there's a whole load of tasks here. And what you can see is a type, and I've got P1, P2, there's P3 and 4. These are essentially my priorities. P1, super important. P2, pretty important, but not like urgent. And then all the way to P4, which is not important, not urgent, but it's something that I should do at some point. And actually reviewing the CW project should really be P2 at the moment. What you'll find as well is if I need to put this off into the following day, then I can simply double click and change this date, and that will move. So for today, the 28th of January, my to-do list has just shrunk because I've moved something out of sight, out of mind into tomorrow. It's not as important as making sure that magazine's cover is updated. And actually, I've already put this off a couple of times. So I think Sunil might be calling me if I don't pay that invoice. So I can move that up to P1. That's something I really should be doing today. Booking onto another podcast show is something I do need to do. It's a little bit of extra exposure, etc. So that's also another task that I can do. So you can replicate this exact sort of layout in in Airtable, in the free account. So Airtable do have a free account. You don't have to pay for it. And this exact layout you can do. What we'll do is put a link to a video where I share this template, and you can steal that for yourselves. As you can see, I also use Airtable to run kind of our CRM. So we manage our opportunities. I can't show you anymore because that will be, I might start showing you stuff that I probably shouldn't show you. But yeah, so I was just double checking there wasn't any client information on here for a minute. I was like, oh crap. Woo. Woo, there's not. We're good. We are good. Sorry, carry on.
What I love most about the process, though, coming back to the discussion we had in the beginning of the webinar, it doesn't matter what tools you use, but what you are highlighting is every evening schedule the top priority tasks for the next day and then execute those before doing anything else.
Absolutely.
That's really the lesson that drives the business forward here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. And how you do it doesn't matter. I love this method. That you can. This looks small because I made this one up. A couple of our team do this with Airtable, and I did do it for a while, but I didn't enjoy the process. We do put major tasks in here so people know what I'm working on if I've got some major tasks. But for my day-to-day, of where my team don't need to know what I'm doing or I'm breaking something down, I personally love a piece of paper on my desk and a pen, and I even go to the extent of really nice pens. So this is a nice wooden fountain pen with real ink inside with a gorgeous nib.
I love fountain pens because your secret is that you're a lettering artist, but you don't want us to know that. So
I do calligraphy, yes. I am a calligrapher. Carry on.
So I wanted to say something. So Airtable, basically, the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason why you two like Airtable so much is that it's really versatile and you can organize it the way you want.
Yes.
Which is the reason why I don't like it, because I'm way too flipping lazy and I want a tool that does everything for me. But so, for instance, I have someone I'm working with got me to use ClickUp. But it's basically the same, isn't it? It's just that you have tailored Airtable.
Sorry, what? Basically the same. ClickUp is so inferior compared to Airtable. I am offended.
Okay, but that is basically my question, because I said at the beginning, and I actually in the posts that I wrote today to let people know about this webinar, that was kind of my point, that I use a tool and then I'm like, oh God, because it has limitations, and I'd rather use notes on my phone because at least it's simple. It doesn't do anything else. And it irritates me less than a tool that I find that has limitations. So
this is the tool I recommend.
The reason why you love Airtable is because there's no limits. You can tailor it to do almost anything. That's why, isn't it?
Yes, that's why. So, for example, this is a copy of our costs. So I like to try and be very logical in our agency, and I like to try and track everything so that I know how much money we're going to spend, how much profit we need to make, etc. I laid it all bare in today's episode, actually, all of this. So people can see how much it costs to run a medium-sized agency, how much you might need to try and sell. And I've been able to build all of this sort of projection from scratch just using Airtable because it's like a relational database. So I can manage my time, but I can also manage data and manage ongoing financial plans. So you can see here with this, I'm trying to target. I was playing with it. We just did a video, but if I play with things like the targets here, I can then see how that's going to affect the potential profitability of the business. If you've got a projected of 180 and then 243 turnover, 62k profit, which is a good profit. So that's one of the reasons why I like Airtable. But equally, I can add all sorts of extra apps to this. So I can add documentation and reports. I can add Gantt charts, which I've done in quite a few different projects. So again, I'm managing time, but I can see who's doing what. I'm gonna open it off screen because I need to make sure I don't open a client's one. So bear with me a second. But let me just show you something which I think you're gonna love. Right, where are you? Agency Trailblazer. I've got a template that I can show you all. Here we go. Is it this one? Is it this one? No, it's not that one. That was my planner. Nearly there, guys.
A page designer. I'm just looking at all the
there you are.
apps that it has. Wow, amazing.
So
organizational chart. I mean, you could do sitemaps. You could do.
So
Flows.
one example is this. Yes, exactly. You can do flows in this as well, but also there's the things like Gantt charts as well. So I can visualize in multiple ways. So this data set here that you can see phases is the phases of an example project. This is the discovery blueprint that we have. And you can see then the phases in 2024. I said a ridiculous date, but you can see there, we can start to visualize it in a Gantt chart. I can visualize this on a calendar just by creating an alternative view. So I could create a calendar view, etc. Or I could even create that Trello board style view. What's it called? Kanban. So I can do all sorts of different views as well with this. So, for example, here is just a standard checklist, but I could switch that over to a Kanban and move things across based on statuses or whatever I want to do. So there's all sorts of really cool features to manage data, manage your time. There is even a timer in here, so I can actually time what I do. We actually use that in the in here. You see this one here? So there's a timer app. If I switch that on and press start, I can time it. And the other cool thing as well is people can actually comment. So we can collaborate on every single data set that we're doing, and people can follow specific records within the system. So again, this is why we use Airtable for time management, but also for the general day-to-day operation of our business. It's a phenomenal product. And I've realized I've now gone over. We should probably wrap up, shouldn't we, folks?
Yep.
We
interrupt because that was really powerful.
Yeah, it was great tips as well.
Thanks, guys. Well, folks, that was us. Please let us know if you're still with us live. Throw in some emoticons, share some links to tools that you really, really love. Like I said earlier, we've gone through some great tools. Remember, we have had Notion, which is, I guess, quite similar to Airtable. Would you think, Jan?
Yeah, Notion is more for storing and managing content, whereas I would consider Airtable more for storing data. Mm-hmm. But they two complement each other very nicely, I think.
Awesome. You've then got Grammarly from Jan as well. If you want to improve any of that grammar, us English people probably need it more than Jan and Peacher, to be honest. Because you go, like you said, Peacher. And also Missing Letter, your virtual social media assistant. They're welcome to that phrase if they can pay me for that. We then looked at speeding up the process of selecting colors and working with your clients and helping you explain to your clients the reason for your decisions with Coolers and with Contrast Checker. And then we wrapped up with a little bit of the Agency Trailblazer podcast where we talked about managing your goals and how we do a lot of that inside of Airtable. So why don't we go around the room to explain to people how they can connect with us, and then we'll do that cheesy wave. Shall we start with you, Peacher?
Yes, so you can either join my group, Design for Geeks, or connect with me on LinkedIn, which these days is my favorite place to be. Yeah. That's it.
Awesome.
I mean, Peachanary, there's only one.
Peachanary across all the socials. She's got the best name ever. Folks,
yeah. Twitter is just Peach. I don't even need the surname on Twitter.
Oh,
just
so cool.
One and only.
I'm a bit jealous. I've got a very common name, so please don't Google me, because apparently I wrote a book. I'm a map company and I build base amps, apparently. But you can connect with me over on agencytrailblazer.com. You can come and join our Facebook group, agencytrailblazer.com/group as well, and come and hang out with us. Jan, how can people connect with you?
First of all, in the Cloudways user group, we are all in there. So that's Cloudways users on Facebook, a very important resource. But then my group is WP Mastery. And you can also find me on Twitter at I am Jan Koch.
Nice. Folks, it's been an absolute pleasure to share with you today our tips, tricks, and strategies for improving productivity in our agency. Now it's over to you to let us know what yours are in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time. It's time for the cheesy wave. How long could I let this go for? I'll press end broadcast in 3, 2. Top tip: if you ever want to win something in a sale, you should always stay tuned to a live stream, guys. Go quiet, because the client will try and fill the silence, and they'll end up talking themselves into purchasing whatever it is you're selling. Right, cheerio.